Messed up. It's good.
How's my horror? All right, we are back. This is a question from Melissa Martin Powell. So these questions, she says, they are not about library land, but these are about JP himself. Based on comments that she has heard from people, so I guess what we're saying is these are not necessarily the opinions of the question asker, but she has heard them around. How do you reply to the folks who see you as nothing but a party guy? In other words, how do you address the reputation, deserved or not, that you have in library land? What is the substance that you have to offer?
Okay.
This is a real talk question, everybody.
Yeah, and that's something that it's a really common criticism of me. Firstly, we have to think about why we're here, right? And we're here for the people we serve, right? And so, you don't want to walk into a library with like a cold, sort of sterile environment. You want to be there with someone who's excited to be there. And I personally think, you can disagree, that I'm one of the more excited people in the profession, right? You meet me, you're like, whoa, he's having a good time, he's really excited to be alive.
I think that's undeniable.
Yeah, and so I think that that's really part of the issue. The other thing, too, is, all I can be is me. We're living in a new day and age, 20 years ago, I've heard the stories of 1978 Chicago midwinter. I know these, really kind of shitty things went on at ALA all the time. That,
what? What? Tell me.
It doesn't matter. But what I'm all about is not that. What I'm about is connecting people. And so, that party guy reputation, I'll gladly take it, because what I'm doing, I'm setting up all these parties. So people who don't have a voice, now they have the opportunity to connect with other librarians, to build relationships, and these relationships can end up bearing fruit personally in their own personal lives. They can bear fruit professionally through projects. I'll tell you what, I can tell you a really fun story. ALA Think Tank. I keep talking about ALA Think Tank, right? And so we rent these houses at conferences that way, because, travel is expensive and hotels are expensive. So when we rent these houses, they're cheaper. It's a way for those of us who can't afford to get to ALA and still get there. We rent these houses. So I'll never forget the day we were all sitting around, and, our Ingrid and I's mutual friend Nicole, who started Librarian Wardrobe, was there, and I remember John Kroska, who had just left ALA, saying, what I'm going to do, you guys, I'm going to start a political action committee for libraries. And we're like, what are you talking about? He said, we're going to do something where when something is on a ballot, right, we're going to give some political money and some political advice to the people that want to see this library win. And I was there for that conversation, and that was at a party, And so I'm not shying away from that. I mean, so many cool things have come out of the relationships that were built at these things, that I'm not going to be like, you can believe what you want to believe about me. You can believe what you want to believe about Ingrid. We are living our lives, and it's okay to live your life and not sacrifice who you are as a person. And that's really what I'd say, is that, I usually, when I get this criticism, I just list things I've done. And that's really kind of boring. I've done stuff. You can go to jpporcaro.com. You can download my whole CV. I've spoken in like 25 states in the last couple of years or something. A lot of states in a short amount of time. That's all real boring. What I've really brought is an energy that is unmatched in the profession. And if some people feel like that's a tarnish on my reputation, that's on them, that's not on me. So, I'm sorry that some of you are not into it, but it's what we need right now. And
why do you think the focus, so, you've had many accomplishments, you say that you've spoken here, and whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm starting to sound like a real housewife. Whatever, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing, it is what it is.
Forget about it.
Yeah, but why do you think the party thing has overshadowed that, has sort of taken over your general image?
Okay. First of all, I don't believe that it really actually has taken over my general image. What we have to also remember is that we are all living in, our own little circles, right? And so just because people in this one little circle say this one thing about something, a lot of other people in another circle might say something really completely different. So let's maybe also think about, if I really had that reputation, could I have ended up on the ballot for ALA? Could I have done, the things that I've done, if those things are true? I mean, I had people just straight up lying on about, hearsay things about me, people I've never met, and that happens, and I'm okay with it. But, think about your own career, Ingrid. You have people saying things about you that probably aren't true. So I'm going to tell a story about you. So I was in Oakland for the CLA conference.
I'm not running for anything.
She's not running for anything. So I was in Oakland last week for the CLA conference in California. And someone said to me, oh, I always see you interacting on Twitter with that, that famous children's librarian. And I'm like, then I'm trying to think of like who's running for whatever in children's librarianship. And then it was like, and it turned out to be you, And it was like, yeah, you're always interacting with that famous children's librarian on Twitter. I love it. You guys are so great. So maybe you might not in your mind feel like people think that about you, but there's so many people out there that think that about you. And so while there might be people out there that are kind of criticizing me, I think there's a lot of people deriving a lot of energy and a lot of inspiration from me. And for those of you that are not deriving that, I'm sorry that you're not, and I'm sorry that I wish I could be inspiring you. But all I can be is me.
Thank you for your very thoughtful question, Alyssa.